Hi, it's Katrina. My friend David is going to be helping me out with the voiceover today, so everyone give him a warm welcome.
Number 10. The Crypts and Catacombs. Underneath the beautiful frescoes and painted ceilings of the Vatican is a literal cemetery. The Vatican is built upon the bones of the dead. Descending for over 30 feet, 9 meters beneath St. Peter's Basilica, is the Vatican Necropolis. Excavations were completed during the 1940s that revealed the necropolis has been used since imperial times. The Roman Empire was burying people under the Vatican long before it became the smallest sovereign state in Europe. Even creepier than the revelation of the corpses was the reason for their discovery. The archaeological work was only undertaken because Pope Pius XI wanted to find the physical remains of Peter the Apostle, plus apparently wanted to be buried as close as humanly possible to the Apostle. The Vatican necropolis didn't start out under the Vatican. In the early centuries of the Common Era, Vatican Hill was used as a dumping ground for the dead. Because Roman law forbade people from burying bodies within city limits, early Christians buried their loved ones outside the physical city along Vatican Hill. Peter himself was buried in the necropolis upon his death between the years 64 and 67. It wouldn't be for another 200 years before Emperor Constantine began construction on the original St. Peter's Church, marking the foundation for what would later become Vatican City. Number 9. Thousands of bones. Emanuela Orlandi vanished from the Holy City in the summer of 1983, and she's never been found. The 15-year-old girl would be in her late 40s by now if she was still alive, but many believe her bones are likely hidden somewhere in a dusty Vatican crypt. If true, it wouldn't come as a big surprise. Hidden in the Vatican are thousands of mysterious bones, and nobody knows who they belong to. 3 decades after Emanuela went missing, her family received an anonymous tip that her remains were stashed in 8 tombs somewhere in Vatican City. Specifically in the tombs of Princess Sophie von Hohenlohe and Princess Charlotte Frederica in the Teutonic Cemetery. Eventually, the Vatican agreed to search the tombs for the bones of the missing girl, but when forensic investigators opened the tombs, they didn't find anything. Even the bones of the princesses weren't in the coffins as they should have been. This led to some accusations that the coffins had already been emptied prior to the investigators showing up. Many believe that the Vatican cleared every last piece of human debris from the tombs, possibly as a way to clear themselves of any wrongdoing. Whatever the case may be, the strangeness of the situation didn't stop there. Forensic investigators also uncovered multiple new chambers containing thousands of human bones. These were the bones of dozens of people, but none of them belonged to Emanuela Orlandi. Number 8. The Resurrection. Looming over the Pope's seat in the Paul VI Audience Hall is what resembles either a demon or a fallen angel, possibly even Lucifer himself. There's an extremely creepy copper sculpture rising 66 feet, 20 meters above the Pope in his audience hall, and it's nothing short of unnerving. The sculpture officially depicts Jesus as he rises from the explosion of a nuclear bomb in the Garden of Gethsemane. But to a lot of people, it looks like an angel writhing in agony in a hellish pit. The audience hall is used by the Pope whenever he needs to make official decrees and when he addresses the people. The sculpture behind him is a relatively new addition to the Vatican. It's called the Resurrection, and it was made by modern sculpture artist Pericle Fazzini in 1972. It took him about 5 years to finish, and it was such hard work that Fazzini got a blood clot from the fumes of burning plastic and nearly died. Fazzini wanted the piece to be both modern and religious, which was why he chose Jesus and the atomic bomb. It's also the reason why he built the whole thing from copper. Yet the dull bronze color and misshapen knots give the sculpture an ugly appearance. It makes Jesus look sick, and it almost seems like he's being dragged into hell by gnarled hands. It's honestly one of the creepiest things in the Vatican, and many people are surprised the Pope still stands in front of it. Number 7. The Cabinet of the Masks. When most people visit the Vatican, they see places like the Raphael Rooms and the Sistine Chapel, but not many people bear witness to the true horrors and absurdities that lurk deeper within the Holy City. One of the creepiest rooms that the public knows little about is called the Cabinet of the Masks. It's hidden in the Vatican Museum and originated in the late 18th century. The story of the cabinet starts with famous architect Alessandro Dori, who helped build parts of the Biblioteca Marcelliana in Tuscany. He was hired by the Pope in 1771 to turn one of the halls of the Palazzetto Innocent VIII into a museum gallery. One of the most important features in the room is a tiled mosaic floor taken straight from the villa of the devious Roman Emperor Hadrian. There's also statues of Aphrodite from ancient Greece, a reproduction of the Three Graces sculpture, and various figures wearing extremely strange masks. It's not even clear where all these masks came from, but some of them are utterly terrifying. The most bizarre artifact in the cabinet of the masks is called the dung chair. The chair is made from solid rose marble and has a large hole in the center like a toilet. It's allegedly been used by popes ever since 855 AD to check and make sure they aren't secretly women. Number 6. The Pope's erotic bathroom. The Vatican is associated with some very inappropriate rumors. There's a conspiracy theory floating around that the Pope owns the largest collection of adult entertainment media in the world. The Vatican supposedly keeps their vast collection of adult videos stashed away somewhere in the bunker with the rest of their secrets. And while we can't confirm the truth of that particular theory, we can discuss a rather peculiar bathroom that's found within the Vatican. It's called the Staffetta del Babina, and it was decorated by Renaissance master artist Raphael in 1516. The bathroom is located inside the papal apartments, and it's adorned with some of the most tasteful and breathtaking erotic art on the planet. The bathroom was commissioned by Cardinal Babina, a top member of the church 500 years ago. This was a much different time, back when papal officials were more concerned with being patrons of the arts than servants of God. Cardinal Babina was also known for his promiscuous activities around town and for authoring lewd plays. The cardinal reached out to his good friend Raphael and insisted he decorate the bathroom in the style of the ancient Romans, meaning that everyone was naked. And so Raphael created naked nymphs dancing across the walls, with nude, lusting satyrs peeping on them. It's a great work of art, but later residents of the Vatican Palace weren't so impressed. The bathroom was defaced, refurbished, and at one point transformed into a kitchen. The Vatican repeatedly tried to erase its history. However, the room was eventually incorporated into the Pope's private residence. It's now been back to its original state since the late 19th century, naked nymphs and all. If you visited the Vatican, would you rather see the Pope's erotic bathroom or the resurrection sculpture? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Number 5. The Room of Tears. If the rumors turn out to be true, the Room of Tears might be one of the weirdest places in the Vatican. The official story behind the room is that it's used for the newly elected Pope to privately change into his official vestments. This occurs right before he takes the pledges of obedience from his cardinals, and he's introduced to the people of Rome from the top of St. Peter's Square. It's called the Room of Tears because supposedly new popes weep with joy as they change into their new clothes. According to conspiracy theories, that was never the original purpose of the room. In the 9th century AD, a woman supposedly infiltrated the church and took the papal seat as the ruler of the Vatican. She went by the name Pope John VIII, but today she's known as Pope Joan. Her reign only lasted 2 years, because her lies were revealed in 857 AD when she accidentally gave birth in front of the people of Rome. Afterwards, she was executed. From that moment on, the Room of Tears was supposedly used to complete a physical inspection of newly elected popes, ensuring they weren't hiding female body parts under their robes. Number 4. Michelangelo's Vendetta in the Sistine Chapel. The Last Judgment is one of the most powerful works of art that can be found in Vatican City. Some parts of it seem kind of creepy, and other parts of it are simply breathtaking. The painting covers the entire altar wall of the Sistine Chapel, and it was painted by Michelangelo 5 centuries ago. The artwork depicts Jesus Christ standing at the center of a vortex of nude, twisting bodies. With one hand, Christ invites the souls of the saved to follow him into heaven. With the other hand, he damns the rest of the souls to an afterlife of everlasting torment. The result of the painting is over 400 figures swirling in a maelstrom of suffering and joy. If the rumors are true, each figure in the painting has their own unique story. One of them happens to be someone from Michelangelo's own life, someone he had a personal vendetta against. During the creation of the Last Judgment, Pope Paul III was pleased with Michelangelo's work, but the master of ceremonies, Biagio da Cesena, was appalled. He said the painting was more suitable for a brothel and was generally rude to Michelangelo. However, the artist retaliated by making the master of ceremonies part of his painting. Biagio was added to the lower part of the fresco, painted as Minos, the judge of the damned. Until the Sistine Chapel crumbles to the ground, Biagio will be immortalized in the very painting he despised, drawn with a serpent's tail coiling around his completely naked body. Number 3. Ghosts of the Vatican. Vatican City is supposedly haunted, and St. Peter's Basilica is said to stand on cursed soil. We already know it was built over a pagan necropolis used in the days of ancient Rome. When the site began its major construction in the 16th century, there were rumors that workers started to drop dead. Then the Pope himself became sick. Some believed the gods of the old world had cursed the new construction, and that nothing good would ever come from the Vatican. But that's not the only horror story we have. There's allegedly a shadowy figure who haunts the bell tower of the basilica, and at least once a year the ghost of long-dead Italian noblewoman Donna Olympia Pamphili is seen wandering the grounds. Donna was the sister-in-law of Pope Innocent X in the 1600s. She became extremely powerful, and she influenced many of the Pope's decisions. However, she eventually flew too close to the sun. Over the years, she made a lot of enemies, and her life was threatened on numerous occasions, so she fled the city. But first, she filled several chests with Vatican gold. Donna ended up dying from the plague shortly after leaving, and all these years later, her ghost is still seen fleeing across the Sisto Bridge to escape with her stolen gold. Number 2. Aliens in the Vatican. There have been conspiracy theories for decades that claim the Vatican is hiding proof of alien life. Many people believe that in the vaults, bunkers, or catacombs of the Vatican is the creepy corpse of an extraterrestrial being. Unfortunately for everyone who would like to see an alien, we don't have any proof. We don't have any pictures of alien bodies, and we don't even have eyewitnesses who claim they've seen one at the Vatican. What we do have are a string of bizarre UFO sightings that have excited alien life conspiracy theorists for years. Most recently, a series of images were released showing a mysterious flying disc circling St. Peter's Basilica. In broad daylight, hundreds of people seemingly witnessed aliens hovering over the Vatican. But what in the world were they doing there? Were the aliens having a meeting with the Pope? Were they spying on the Vatican to get a better understanding of human beings? Or were they hoping to recover the body of their friend that's supposedly hidden under the Vatican in a secret room? Of course, there's always the possibility that it wasn't a UFO. The mystery object over the Vatican could have been a weather balloon or an oddly shaped cloud. If there are aliens within the Vatican, nobody's come forward with evidence. Number 1. The Bunker. The Vatican Secret Archives received a change of title in late 2019. The massive repository of secret texts hidden in the Vatican is now called the Vatican Apostolic Archive. It was a move by Pope Francis himself to make the thousands of mysterious documents held by the Vatican seem less mysterious. But just because the name suddenly changed doesn't mean that it's now open for anyone to descend into the underground bunker where the secret archives are kept. This archive dates back to 1612, yet it contains multitudes of texts and documents from much earlier. Many of them are still deemed too sensitive for the Church to simply allow everyone to look at. But is there really a bunker underneath the Vatican, holding several miles of shelving? The answer is a resounding yes. The official history of the archive started with Baldassare Ansede, the custodian of the Vatican Apostolic Library in the early 1600s. He helped collect so much confidential information that Pope Urban VIII had to create a separate place to store the documents. In 1630, the Pope separated the secret archives from the Apostolic Library. Then 30 years later, a trio of rooms were put aside to house the ever-growing collection of information. And in 1810, French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte seized control of the Vatican and emptied the papal archives. He transferred over 3,000 cases of documents from Rome to France, and it wasn't until 1816 that those documents were returned. Over a century later, new technology allowed Pope John Paul II to build an advanced bunker underneath the Vatican, which now contains all the secret knowledge of the past 1,200 years and more. What do you think the Vatican's biggest secret is? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.